morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's mini episode of the Weekly Energy Boost. This summer, we're cutting down the minutes, but we are not cutting down on the wisdom and tools we're sharing with you every week. This week, we are focused on a few really powerful openings that influence us, again, whether we're aware of it or not. It's affecting the whole world, but the goal of the Weekly Energy Boost is to provide our listeners with the most practical and powerful tools to navigate the coming 7 days. It's almost like a spiritual weather forecast, and when you know what's coming up, you can better take advantage of those energies. And the result of that sharing is wisdom and tools you can use at any time. And so we called this week's episode, Here's What You've Been Missing, because the energy that's revealing itself and the opportunities we can take this week are really the missing pieces for what so many of us are experiencing, have been experiencing in the last few weeks, the last few months, maybe even in the last few years. And the first window in time that I want to call out for everybody is this Tuesday night. It's one of the most powerful and important nights on the Kabbalistic calendar. We call it Shavuot. Shavuot is the night upon which all of the energy that was revealed on Mount Sinai 3,500 years ago or so is available. Now, you could say, well, who cares? You know, that's a biblical thing. But what the Kabbalists teach is that potentiality for revelation had existed from the moment our world began to exist. And that energy is what allowed the revelation to occur. So the Kabbalists teach that perhaps the most significant element of what happened on Mount Sinai is that death was eliminated, albeit temporarily. There was a period where people ceased to die, the sick were healed. If people were missing limbs or organs, they grew back. And perhaps on a more practical level and easier to imagine, end ceased to exist. Now, I'm not sure everybody can imagine what that might look or feel like. Good health doesn't end. Relationships don't end. You're energized all the time. You're not fearful. You're not in scarcity mindset. Like, there's literally no perception that anything can cease or end. And so the light force of the Creator promises us that we will have that again. We can have that again. And the window through which we can draw that energy of immortality, again, I wouldn't limit it by thinking it's a zombie apocalypse kind of immortality. It really is the idea, the reality in which there is an end to end, that nothing good ever has to cease. And the Kabbalists teach that the simple way to connect to that window is by staying awake all night on Tuesday night. Now, there's a part of me that says there is literally nothing more torturous than staying up all night. But what we do, the way that we do it is a night of study, of connection, of community. And if you live in a city near a Kabbalah Centre, there's not a better place to be. You can always stream with us online as well. But the main point is knowing about it actually is part of what allows you to access it. So even if you're not able to stream or you're listening to this on Thursday, that energy is still available on Thursday. The energy, the window really closes Thursday night, although it's at peak energy Tuesday night. Then we enjoy that revelation and it sort of wanes on the way out. But for us as a lesson personally, and what the real opportunity is of this week, is to think about how we each bring end and limitation. I think that part of what we perceive as spiritual individuals or light-minded individuals is that we're here to put out goodness. We're here to shine our light, share wisdom, share inspiration. We're trying to be a force for good. But we sometimes forget, and this is what I believe we are missing most of the time when we put ourselves out there in the world, is that everything in our lives is really orchestrated for us to grow and transform. I spoke with somebody recently who was talking about a situation with her family in which her brother has repeatedly shown that he is not, he can't be counted on. He's not there to support their aging parents. His life is too busy. He can't be bothered. It's not a priority for him. And therefore, this person, everything falls on her. The weight of taking care of them and the responsibilities, food shopping, picking up medicine, checking in on them, hospital visits, etc. And I'm sure that's a situation that many people have experienced or are experiencing right now. So we had this conversation about how to change it. And she was like, well, I can't change my brother, right? Kabbalah 101, you can only change yourself. So that was the conversation. What was the missing piece of data in the scenario was that the reason it's happening and the reason it's all falling on her is actually because she feels she has to. There's no other choice. It's her burden and it's her responsibility. And if nobody does it, it's not going to get done. So we had this conversation, she shared with me afterwards, and she paused and she decided she's not going to rush out the door, which is her usual normal nature. And I love this example because her nature is to care. Her nature is to share. Her nature is to do good and to take responsibility. But because at its root, she feels she doesn't have a choice, it removes both that energy of sharing, meaning it then becomes an obligation and a burden, but it also, by her, anytime, and it's not just her, and she is great, and I'll share with you what shift she made in a second, but anytime we are approaching something as I have to, as a burden, an obligation, anything you feel tethered to, anything that's a ball and chain in your life, even if it's kindness and taking care of one another, someone else at least, it's not going to reveal the light it can. Because when we feel we have to, or there's no other choice, we become the effect, and that situation or that person becomes the cause. And that is literally against the laws of the universe that we stipulated when humanity came to the scene. We said we are here to be the cause. We are here to be the creators. We are here to initiate, to inspire, to cause, to collaborate. And the moment something else makes us feel this way or that, we revert to the role of the effect. And because we are being controlled or affected so strongly by something else, it can't reveal the light it's meant to. Now, the Kabbalists teach, and I'll go back to the punchline of the story in a minute, the Kabbalists teach that in order for us to reach that level of an end to pain and suffering, it's us who have to change. We have to change all of those aspects of ourselves that are not light-like. And the more we become like the light, and the more of the light that's revealed in the world, this goes back to a little bit what we talked about last week, the closer we are to that transformation. And my point in this example also is she doesn't need to change what she's doing. All she needs to change is how she's doing it and why she's doing it. To go from a heavy and burdened heart to a pure heart, to an open heart, to a joyous heart. So she sat there in the sunlight, enjoying herself, sort of planning out her day, her weekend, and giving herself the time she needed to enjoy and to feel connected and grounded in herself. And then she decided, and I'm sure she's okay with me sharing it. I'm not revealing who it is. She picked up the prescription that one of her parents needed, and she stopped by, and the intensity, the urgency that she felt, I have to get there as soon as I can. They need me. They're waiting for me. They weren't even ready for her visit. Right? So that perception of I have to, it's urgent, I don't have time to take care of myself, I have to put everybody in front of me, ahead of me, before me, it disappeared. The moment she was able to not be controlled by that urgency or the obligation or responsibility. And P.S., who went grocery shopping the next day? Her brother. He suddenly had time, suddenly was available. And the really important part of this story, and it could be any of us in any situation, is that we create the limitation with our own consciousness, our own mindset. That's the fact that we miss 9 times out of 10. The reason our movie, personally, looks dark and dismal, there's no other choice, I don't have any help, I can't manage in any other way, nobody's going to change, is because our perception, it's almost like we are forcing the universe, this person was forcing the universe to make her brother selfish, to prove that that's the reality. No one will do it but me. Okay, you don't want anybody to do it but you? Your brother's going to be selfish and your aunt and uncle are busy, right? The whole universe conspires to reinforce and affirm what we see. And that's one of the reasons that the Kabbalists talk about certainty, having trust, understanding that there is a system, that the laws of cause and effect are perfect. There are no exceptions. And when we stop forgetting that idea, what we bring into our experience, and I believe a lot of us think this way. I know my consciousness determines my reality. I know my mindset is everything. We say things like, change your mind, change your life, right? But at the end of the day, and this is the week to free yourself from every thought, word, and action that connects you to limitation, to impossibility, to when is the other shoe going to drop? All good things must come to an end. I'm just holding my breath till something happens. We all do it, Kabbalah teachers included. And the reality is, with the light that is available to us this week, we can, let's say that the light is shining so brightly, it can burn away all of those perceptions. So if you're listening prior to, let's say, Thursday night, you still have the opportunity to make that list. What are the thought processes and mindsets and belief systems I have of limitation, of lack, of impossibility, of no other choice? And I want to get rid of them. I want to free myself from them. That window of opportunity is there for us until Thursday night. And the beautiful thing that Kabbalah teaches is that whatever happens during the week only fully becomes manifest on Saturday, on the 7th day, the day of Shabbat, which really represents, again, this is the week of Malchut, this is the week of manifestation of all the effort we put forth in the Omer, and every week has its own manifestation. So this energy is available to us until Saturday night. I want to end with a little meditation visualization from my teacher, Karen Berg, and then send you off into the week. This week in your meditation, go to the beautiful rising sun. If you are able to see a sunrise, if you stay up all night on Tuesday night, you get to watch the sunrise. That's me. That's my voice if you're not watching the video. It is not something you will easily forget. The moment of sunrise is perhaps the most positive moment of the entire day. Take yourself to the early morning and see the dark horizon slowly illuminate. Little by little, the sunlight increases. You can feel the warmth begin to build upon your face. The birds sing. The animals emerge from their dwellings, but most importantly, you feel something stir within you. The light is coming, and with it comes a new day, new hope, new opportunities, and new blessings. You are inspired to be like the light, and your heart opens wide as the sky to love. It inspires you, renews you, and restores you. It is the light of the Creator that removes darkness in our lives. The time has come to welcome this positive force into our lives and into the world. The time has come to move toward the light. And that's what you've been missing. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can visit our website, weeklyenergyboost.com. and see how you can stream or connect with us on Tuesday night and Wednesday for the window of Shavuot, as well as all the other things we talk about in other episodes. You can also send us a message there or click the donate button and support our podcast, as well as like, rate, review, and share this episode. And we'll see you next week for another mini episode of Weekly Energy Boost.